Hello, we're back.
Hey everyone, we are back. We're back.
Hello.
Happy Thanksgiving hangover. If you're still dealing with all the food, I know I got a lot of food left over. Made 2 birds this year. Crazy.
Actually, it's time to throw those out now. It is what it was Sunday the 1st. It's time to throw away Thanksgiving. It's bad now.
Oh man, I can't throw away Thanksgiving. I got like a giant tub of turkey left over, so I got to come up with something to do with all that turkey now.
The bird must be consumed.
Yes. So hello to everybody that is out there. So we're joined with Montavius today. He will be popping in on Howling Hour going forward when he is free from doing all the things that he's doing. Marcus is out traveling today, either for a film project or just traveling home from the holiday because he's been a very busy man. Danny is wrapping up his cruise today, so he may be home today now, or he may be home in a few hours. And then Lukas just got out of work, so he'll be back with us next week, depending on what his work schedule is. So,
could you imagine if Danny just like pops up out of nowhere, like heel Danny with the sunglasses, and he's like, "I'm back from my cruise, baby," and just pops into the chat. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yep, all tan and everything else, rubbing it in. But I, you know what? I'm telling you, we were off last week, and we're gonna dive into why we were off last week, just in case you didn't know. But it was a fun time. I enjoyed that more than being on a cruise. So today we're gonna go over a couple things. So we're gonna talk about the 5 Yuletide horror films to get us in the mood for the holiday spirit that each of us have. So we each have 5 picks that we're going to discuss. We're gonna dive into some news from this week. It's been a very slow horror news week or a couple of weeks, so there's not that much that's out there. And then we're going to talk about the independent film Mirror Mirror. So if you don't know what that is the film that all 3 of us and Marcus were working on last week. Montavius is the creator and the idea man behind Mirror Mirror, and he was on the channel before, so you can go and check out one of the previous interviews where he talks about that film. But let's talk about some of the news that is going on out there. So we're going to start with a trailer. I don't know if anybody got out to see Heretic and saw the trailer for the new slasher movie that is coming next year. So let's dive into the news.
That was cool.
So thank you very much.
I mean, like it's like
so Hard Eyes. So we have Hard Eyes that is coming out. It's going to be a new Valentine slasher movie. So My Bloody Valentine has really been the mainstay, just like in werewolf films. There's only American Werewolf in London and The Howling, then everybody's a distant second. But My Bloody Valentine and the remake are very good films. Some people like Valentine. I'm never really a care for it. But Hard Eyes is coming, and it's a slasher who stalks people every Valentine's Day, and it's a horror comedy. So this one looks like a real fun one. So I'm going to go ahead and show some clips here on what we can show of this. So let me go ahead and pull that up. All right, so let me know in the comments if you have seen this here, but let's see how much we can kind of get away with here. There is an unalive moment in this film that I definitely want to show everybody, but let's take a look at this real quick.
this Valentine's
I know.
Day.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get dinged if I keep going with that music. So let's go forward to the scene that caught my eye. I don't know. Have you both seen this
Is
trailer
it the
yet?
couple scene?
Yes, it is this amazing scene right here in the back of the van.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful scene. Yeah, beautiful scene.
Oh man,
They shouldn't have showed that.
so great,
Look at that. That is just amazing.
beautiful.
And you know what? The mask isn't that bad. So what do you both think about the mask? We got some glowy eyes on our killer here. I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick for you. I think it's this one right here. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yep, there
so
it is right there.
I mean, the mask is it's okay.
It's so
It's
hard
like
to be original anymore.
yeah. I feel like it's nothing original that we haven't seen. I mean,
Hmm.
the heart eyes I feel like was a nice touch. Like that was
Hmm.
cool. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited for it. Like I don't want people to think I'm not. I'm excited for it. I think the mask look is just like something we've seen already, which is fine. I'm not saying reinvent the wheel, but I'm excited for it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. You know, we haven't had a real good mask that popped up in a long time, right? We have Art the Clown's makeup that's really unique and stands out, and then we've had like an explosion of slashers that have come out with Art the Clown, and not many of the masks have been fantastic. Maybe with
Mm.
the exception of Jester and Billy. I think it's Billy and Sliced. I think those two masks are pretty cool and stuff like that. Or Dice. That's it, Dice. Other than that, I haven't been impressed with any of the masks that have been out there.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, we have William Watson joining us. Hey, what's going on, William? Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
And yep, you tend to agree. The mask is Yep, I agree. No. So there's
You look better in
potential.
post.
Yeah, it's potential to
Yeah,
be a fun one.
yeah.
So
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was. I think now this will definitely be something we see at conventions though. Like for sure, I think there will be
Hmm.
a few people that's going to go around with glowing heart eyes, which I think is cool.
Hmm.
But again, like I said, not original, but I'm excited. And what it's from the producers who of Scream, right?
Yeah, and we got what's his name in it too. From Scream 5
Mason
and
Goody.
Scream 6.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mason Goody. He's in it, which is I'm very excited for because he should have died in 6. I don't know how he
Oh
survived
yeah.
Scream 6.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's in it.
So
Devon. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do have a better mask image of the mask. So that's what kind of
Ooh.
the mask looks like. So it looks like it's got some sparkles on it and stuff like
Is it
that.
a
So
female killer?
could be, could
It
be
looks
that
like
mask.
those. You know those candies? You remember? You know those Valentine heart candies?
Yes, the
That's
ones
what
with the little
it
stains on
reminds
it.
me of.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of right now.
No, I hope you just didn't kind of figure out a part of it here where it's going to be a female killer. Because Thanksgiving kind of gave it away too when they started showing the killer for Thanksgiving, John Carver. I was like, Patrick Dempsey. He's got the same body build and everything. Even though it was a stunt double, they did it correctly, and he looked
Well,
just like him. So
I mean, also, what else are you gonna do with that name, if not to throw him in with the twist?
mhm, true. But even with the other Valentine movie, I don't know if you both have seen it. It's with David Boreanaz, or however you say his last name. I apologize if I say it incorrectly. But the guy, for years, we all know him wearing the trench coat and the black pants and the boots and stuff like that. And that's what the slasher wore. The same exact clothes that he wore. And I was like, could you not at least done something different where you just didn't give him away as the slasher? Because you just knew it from watching the trailer.
Listen. He's got his shtick, his thing, and you can't hate on it.
Hmm.
If it's not,
Yep.
maybe it wasn't the greatest of choices, but they did their best.
Yep. Those special effects are pretty cool. Yes. I think that's what's going to make the movie fun. And of course, Mason Gooding Jr. is always fun on screen. So hopefully it brings that same joy and fun to this character as he's brought to the Scream universe. All right. Any closing thoughts on that? Any from either one of you? Just looking
I
forward
mean,
to
I
it.
have to say, I am excited for the cast. Like, I'm just now going through like the cast list, and it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
solid. I don't know if anyone else has checked it out, but I mean, they got some decent heavy hitters in there. What's her name? Jordan Brewster from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She's in there. Um, from Fury 7 back in 2015. If there's any Fast and Furious fans out there, she also, she played Mia in the original the Fast and Furious. I don't know if people know that,
Oh.
but like, yeah, like, so she's in it. So I mean, they got some good heavy hitters. So I'm crossing my fingers with this one. Hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, as Fast and Furious continues to exist, I tend to block out the franchise even more. Going seeing the Rock take torpedoes on ice was pretty over the top. But then seeing them take a car into space, and I was like, I can't watch this series anymore. It's done with.
I can't wait to see
For
them fight
sure.
aliens. They're going after aliens in the next one.
Oh boy, I don't know.
Well,
But
no, because they're currently
some
fighting
exciting
Aquaman,
news.
so they're probably gonna fight fish people next.
And then they have Olivia Holt, who was from Totally Killer. So I mean, I feel like the cast is not bad. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're on to something here. So fingers crossed.
Guess we shall see.
Yep, fingers crossed. Now, with this little slasher resurgence, does any slashers out there kind of jump out at you and it's like, all right, so we got Art the Clown now. Who else? Who's coming close or somewhat close to being another slasher that you want to follow?
Well, I mean, I am curious to see where the stream series does lead to, because I'm hoping we
Mm-hmm.
get that sequel. So, like, if we get that sequel, I'm curious to see where that like slasher cult universe goes and what happens when the people find out that it's not all fake or whatever. But I don't know. Is
Mm-hmm.
there another big slasher out there other than Art right now, or is he kind of like people are still trying to catch up to what he is able to produce?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking new age slasher, like of the like just slashers of the 2000s, I mean, Art the Clown is right now sitting at Mount Rushmore. Like, he is the top. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like right now.
Mm-hmm.
However, I mean, I feel like you do have some people like the Stream universe. I think you mix Scream and The Purge, and you have Stream. Like, that's kind of what it feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have to say, and maybe I'm biased, but Dice, for those who don't know, I think Dice is another up and coming with the Red Brothers starting that franchise. I think that's one to
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye out for too.
Yeah. I think like we're on the verge of having several slashers out there that could possibly lift off. So Dice, we got Pooh from the part two Pooh from Blood and Honey.
Yeah,
Um, then there's Mr. Crockett that came out on Halloween this year on Hulu. That
yeah.
has so much potential to be so much more. So I'm hoping that somebody gets behind that, throws money at it, and they just continue to chase what they were doing in that film. It was just great.
Come on, people,
Agree.
capitalize on the good stuff. Capitalize on what people actually want to see. Good content. Good
Yep.
content.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
which
go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Mr. Crockett too. That really surprised me.
Hmm.
I did not go into it with the most open eyes. I kind of had already made up my mind, like, oh, this is gonna be okay. No, it really blown my expectations, especially with the writing, the special effects,
Hmm.
amazing. So, you guys, if you have not seen it, you check that out. Like, seriously, pretty good.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the better straight to streaming movies that popped up in October. Is that one? So I'm hoping somebody
Mhm.
throws money at it, brings it to the big screen, and expands on the story because it's going to be excellent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, outside of that, I think what we've seen over history when horror booms, it's usually a reflection of the current climate out there in our society and with looking to see how society is today. For probably the next year or so, I think we're going to probably see a lot of horror movies crop up to kind of deal with what's going on today in the world. But no politics. Let's talk Terrifier 3 and let's know what do you got to add?
Something that you could add that isn't really political, but I would say is definitely relevant to life with horror movies is that both when it comes to what people can do on set, like how they can improve or innovate in some way to make
Oh.
their movie better, and
Mhm.
or as you were saying, or to push boundaries to get us to a new era of just honestly a new era of like being in a mental state, like where we shift and change. I always feel like horror is the front runner for that. Like we
Mhm.
always, because like Night of the Living Dead started something new, and that was in that initially like they were playing that in film in like those in the they were playing like X-rated movie theaters because it was so taboo, and now look at it.
Mhm.
So it's like I think there's a lot that you see horror progress in society in all aspects that most genres haven't been able to do. Like I'm sorry, say what you want, but nobody's out here saying that the Oscar pushed us leaps and bounds into the future with
Mhm.
its groundbreaking storytelling.
Yeah, I'm expecting that we may actually start to see a little bit more of a gritty type of film with serial unalivers maybe coming into the forefront right behind slashers.
Especially with generation people from my generation and millennials popping up doing horror and growing up with their parents showing them this stuff, and it's like, oh well, we don't have our generation of serial eaters and whatnot, so
Mhm.
let's and with the like with the not talking about anything in specific, but like the way everything is and how everyone feeling with horror, it's probably going to be expressed that way. It's kind of like the 90s, right? When with comic books, when they went to leather and chains and stuff like that, and all the characters
Mhm.
in the 90s got their weird revamp looks. It's going to be
Mhm.
like that. It's going to be like that, I think.
Yeah, could be. All right, so let's talk about this little nugget of news that is slowly leaking out. And if you go over to Box Office Mojo right now, and if you take a look here at the Terrifier information, there is a 2024 re-release in Box Office Mojo, and its date is for December 24th of this year. So I don't know. Maybe Box Office Mojo is one of those sites where people can go in and kind of edit and mess around with it and stuff like that. But there is a little nugget of news that showed up in the Art the Clown Appreciation Society, and that is from Regal itself. So let me go into Regal, and you see Terrifier 3, the Christmas event, 2 hours and 17 minutes, which is 14 minutes longer than the original Terrifier 3 release. And while I can't go that far in the future, the post that I seen in the app does have showings for the 24th, and it is right now in limited areas. So this is pretty exciting. Uh, Maybe not a direct result of the last campaign that we ran after the popcorn bucket, but we are getting our extended cut, and I am happy with an additional 14 minutes. So anything that either one of you can think of that we may get in those extra 14 minutes?
I'm hoping we get to see Sienna go to the Terrifier. Like I just want to see her
Mhm.
relive what it was like to be there, from the second film to now, just to kind of see like the emotions that she felt going back. So I hope so. And I hope, like, kind of how we said before we jumped on, that we get a little bit more clarity, a little bit like one or two more questions answered as
Mhm.
far as, with the additional few minutes. So fingers crossed.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we talked about it. So we did talk about it, and I also believe that seeing Sienna go to the Terrifier would be really interesting. But how cool would it be if all of those extra 14 minutes went directly at the end of the movie, and we got to see a little bit of extra of what happened at the end? Because we were talking about it, right? That the movie could have
Hmm.
gone on a little bit longer and would have been fine.
Mm.
So I mean,
Hmm.
we could like maybe we could see that like the events of the bus scene or whatever when Art goes on the bus or what and what happened there. But I would like to see some answered questions. It would be interesting to see Jonathan's scene. Whether if we don't get it, I would prefer it. But if we did get it, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I'm gonna be really disappointed if it's like every other director's cut where it's like additional scenes, but it doesn't really matter at all. But knowing Damien, I have a feeling that it's probably gonna be something different. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm
No,
curious.
no, I agree. I wouldn't be mad if we got to see an unalive of executive producer Phil Falcone. I think now we need to see that. Like, I would love to see an unalive happen to him within the Terrifier franchise. So, fingers crossed. I would love to see that. That'd be funny. Kind of continuing with the bus scene.
You know what? I almost think that it would be a continuation of what's happened in the previous movies, but his stuff is usually off to the side, right? In part 2, Phil Falcone, I think you see his just body laying there on the ground. You don't really see what happened, and maybe I think he might be on fire. And then in the first film, I don't think he was ever unalive, but you do see him on set with Monica Brown, so he survived that one. But that's awesome. That should be like the running joke where the one character comes back looking a little bit different every movie, and then he's unalive. Yeah,
he's the Stan Lee of the horror universe.
Yeah.
Somebody got to suggest that to Damien so we get that to happen.
I was saying, he should, because you see it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was saying, like, you see him in Stream at the end of Stream, like, walking. So, like, just continue to have Phil and all these different, productions just have just that one-off character.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's a great idea. I'll tell you this: if this extra 14 minutes doesn't include Jonathan, I will be okay with that. For 2 reasons. One, because as a podcaster, we get the theory about it for another 2 years about what happened to Jonathan.
Which is great. Wait, 2 years? What?
Come on, they haven't started filming yet. I don't think they've announced anything where they're at with the script.
What are we doing?
We're not going the Saw route where we pump something out every single year and then end up killing the franchise.
I know I'm gonna appreciate it in the long run, but for now I'm gonna be sad. So just let me have this.
Yep. So
hopefully,
I don't. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I'm just saying. Hopefully, we get something from the Terrifier crew, Fuzz on the Lens, next year in 2025, which I think we're supposed to be getting anyway with Screamboat. So hopefully that'll hold us over for at least another year. We could talk about it before we get Terrifier 4, because I think what they are suited for 2026, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, I believe so. Now I'm wondering if they're going to film back to back, because there's so much story there that they said that's most possibly going to be a 5th one. So I'm wondering if they'll do a 4 and 5 back to back, or if we'll get another gap. Yeah. So now, outside of the Jonathan piece, again, don't mind if it happens. That's something that I want to be surprised about what may unfold in the next few movies. But to touch on your point, Montavius, we have Sienna that's gone through such trauma and stuff like that, and not to see that play out with her going back to the Terrifier and seeing how she reacts to being there, seeing if maybe she sees her mom lurking in the hallways or something like that. That would be so awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, I was trying to think, like, I wonder what would that feel like. Like, I'm trying to put myself in her shoes, because so much has happened there, right? Her best friend Brooke was unalived there, and technically, so the cop scene where the cop is unalived, that happened right after Sienna had already ran away or whatever. So I thought, like, maybe the body would still be there, but technically it gets up and walks away. So the cop technically wouldn't be there anymore. But still, like, going through all the emotions, seeing that place all over again, I think that'd be awesome if we got to witness. So hopefully.
Yeah,
let's get it, guys. Let's hope. Let's wish for it.
Yeah, because if you remember, there's a point in the movie where they talk about how Sienna is seeing multiple people, and she only saw one in Terrifier 3. So I would imagine there may be another scene with another person that's coming back and kind of haunting her and harassing her.
Are we gonna see her mother? That would be interesting.
We have to. Or I feel like one person who we deserve to see, that we have to see, is Allie. Like, you have to, like, right? Like, imagine seeing her all, like, configured and in little bits and pieces. Like, you see her, like, that would be, imagine, like, sitting somewhere and you seeing your best friend, your other best friend, just completely What's the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for?
Mangled, dismembered.
Mangled, yeah. So it had to be crazy.
Yeah, to see her like just walking down a hallway, almost like doing that zombie shuffle, dragging the foot behind her, coming up to her. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's gonna be a dance move now, like the zombie shuffle.
Well, you know what? Little tidbit here for you guys. So back when I was working at Best Buy and we did the midnight release for Resident Evil 5, and we were the only store to this day to actually convert our store to a haunted house opening up at midnight for that showing. We had the local radio station out there, and that was a part of the whole event where we had people coming up doing the zombie shuffle and best dances outside in the front of the store.
That's pretty cool.
So
that's pretty cool. You know,
I did know.
All right.
I've also seen the footage online. There's some footage on YouTube still.
Is there really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Oh man, we got to show
really cool.
That.
There was actual chainsaws there.
I mean, can you show that? I mean, you just talked about it, so we got to see it, right?
It wasn't like through any official thing. Like they just did it through. Like they just did it while they did a midnight release at Best Buy for Resi 5.
I see. Let me see here. I may first. Let me check the time if I have it uploaded still, because it is pretty long. So it is 10 minutes. If you guys want to see, I'll skip past the interviews real quick in the beginning, and we'll show you some of the highlights from the event.
I think we should do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
The fans want to see. Do the fans want to hear it? Just get no comments. That'd be great.
Yeah, comment in the chat.
All right, so I'm quickly going here, getting it loaded up, and oh my God, I look so young. We won't show that part.
Me too. I look so young in
Dave.
This. What year was that?
When did Resident Evil 5 come out? I don't remember. I'm thinking 2008, maybe 2007.
2007, 2008, somewhere around there. Oh, geez, I think I was. God, what grade was I?
Don't say it. Oh my God, you said it.
I was 5.
Okay, if you're 5.
Right. In 2007, I was 5.
I was.
What if it was 5? I was 5.
I think I was 13.
You're only 8 years older than me?
Yeah, I'm 29.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, so jeez.
Yeah. No comment from me. I'll just be quiet. All right. So let's go here.
Well, you were working at Best Buy as a manager at this point, so.
Yep. Alrighty, so I'll play with sound.
Is it coming through?
Do you not see it?
I don't hear it.
Oh, you don't hear it? Oh, that stinks.
No, you can't hear it.
I remember this clip when you first showed it to me, like when it first came out.
Yeah, it's playing very loudly in my headset.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's fine. I whatever.
Yeah, we went all out for this. We had a local film crew help us with this.
Oh gosh.
Yep. We were the start of viral campaigns because we shot a bunch of shorts and we released the shorts and they went viral across the entire country.
This looks very like early 2000, like for sure.
Now, one thing that happened here too is the restrictions that we had from corporate. So we couldn't have a blade or bladeless chainsaw, so we just went with the chainsaw motor. But for a haunted house that I defined here, I wrote up for this, is we put plants in the crowd. So we would send the crowd through with somebody that was going through just making fun of everything that was out there. And then they would get ripped out by a zombie for complaining.
Nice.
But this was in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and we had people that flew in from all over the country to attend the event. We had the local military that was out. So anybody you see in fatigues is actual military.
Oh, wow, man! If I wasn't like a kid, I would have went to this. Like I was like 12, 13 years old, so I had no money.
Yeah. Noah was very mad that he didn't get to go. So as you can see, that's my plan, getting pulled out of the crowd.
That's hilarious. This is gold.
Yeah, we made national news. So my name was on several media websites at that time. But this is where we were doing the setup outside, where you saw the guy giving a bag away. That's where the dances were happening.
That's
sick.
That's crazy. That's so dope, though.
Yeah, we got the makeup and all of this. We didn't even do a dress rehearsal. I don't believe. No, we did one dress rehearsal the week before, and then we just went with everything that night of.
So
Yeah, I wish you guys would hear it because there's a cool line coming up where we have a zombie that talks, and he walks up. He's just like, "Follow me to safety. Come this way." Trying to lure people through. So, yeah, there's the outside.
We'll do one of these again one day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Make a little haunted attraction.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do. There he is. Follow me to safety. Yeah.
Oh, look at the Xbox 360 box in the back right there. That's crazy.
Getting hit with nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The PlayStation.
Yeah, these guys are from Rhode Island that traveled up. The next guys that we're going to see that start talking soon, they're the ones from Washington State. So we have people going coast to coast. They came.
I will say, for the most part, Best Buy looks the same. Like, they haven't changed anything really. They just update the consoles that come out, and that's it. Everything other than that, Best Buy has remained the same Best Buy it is.
Yeah, it was a fun time. So I'm glad that we got to do it. But typical corporate America, they didn't want to run with the idea because the next one that we were going to do was essentially going to be a Call of Duty laser or a paintball event, and a week before we ran with it, corporate came down and said, "No, you can't do a paintball with the military." So I had to cancel everything for the whole entire event a week out. So
lame.
Yeah, well, if you want to change your place in the marketplace and your branding, you do stuff like this because we had GameStops around us telling people to go to our event rather than going to their midnight event, which was huge because GameStop would beat the pants off
we're
us.
actually clocking out to go to that one too because that's actually pretty dope.
We're actually on our way there right now, so follow us.
You want a carpool? We'll get some snacks on the way.
Double Knees. He remembers this because he was there with me that night doing that stuff. So welcome, Double Knees. Thank you for joining us. All right, so we talked about the news, and now I think it's time to talk about something else, and that is going to be about what we were doing last week, which was pretty damn exciting. So Marcus, myself, and Noah, we traveled down to just outside of Philadelphia to work with Montavius on his film Mirror Mirror. And it was an eventful time. Before Montavius tells us a little bit about it, I do want to go ahead and just quickly share my screen with the aftermath in my local area of what everything looks like here. So let me share my screen real quick. So what you're going to see on screen here is a bunch of tree branches down it. That's not because anybody was trimming trees or anything like that. That's because we got 10 inches, the last time I checked before we left, of heavy snow that not only took down the branches of all these trees here that you see in our local park, but as Noah and I were driving to Philadelphia, there was power lines that were down, and we actually had to drive over some of the power lines to get there. But so Mirror Mirror is the film that we went to work on. Montavious will tell you what that is in a second, but look at this. So we have some great people that were a part of this, and my God, it was such a fun time. And that's your tease and sneak of what the creature looks like. But Montavious, tell us a little bit about that.
That's all you get.
Yeah, no more. Well, no, I have to say, first of all, thank you guys for coming out. Like, I mean, that is very monumental for me, and I know Drew and all that good stuff too. Like just to have people there to want to see this thing, and I mean, and you guys can testify. Like this was a pretty cool shoot. Like
It was a lot
from
of fun. I had a lot of fun. I
right, like
learned a lot.
yeah, just from like the camera equipment. Like I wish everybody could. Because do you guys have a picture of the Ari like that they use? Like, it was an Ari Mini.
The
For
camera
all
itself.
I do have a picture.
you do.
Yep. I have to track it down though. Let me
Okay.
see if I can track it. So go ahead.
No worries. But like, I mean, just from a technical standpoint, just the technology, the different lenses, the camera angles, the choice. I mean, it was just so immaculate, and I felt like it flowed very well from the actors and actresses that was there. I mean, everything was just so magical, and yeah, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. So I will say that this was probably the most ambitious film that I've been a part of, because it's telling a story that I feel like that everybody can agree with. However, it just happens to happen to a couple that is African American. So I think everybody will enjoy this. I don't know. How do you guys feel? I mean, you guys were there. You guys got to see the scripts. How do you guys feel?
Well, there's the camera.
Yeah, look at that thing. That thing is a monster.
It's a beaut. She's a beaut.
Yep, $80,000 worth of camera right there.
Yeah, and I think that's us being generous on the back end, because who knows how much the lens costs? You know, just the camera was like 80 to 85,000.
So let me tell you right here.
Should we show off our stuff?
I got Armani's. If you want to show off yours, then it's close by. But I got Armani's script.
You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yeah, Armani is Armani Greer is the lead actress that is in this film, and I got to have a conversation there real quick right before we were wrapping up. But let me tell you, anybody that is a fan of the Ozarks or of Julia Garner, this actress reminds me just like her. I mean, her performance, her spunk, everything. The delivery that Armani Greer has is just like Julia Garner, and it was just an amazing experience to see her acting on screen, along with our other actors. You know, we have Jamal Akato. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. Akakpo. I ran it into a pronouncer. Yeah, and that's what it came back with. And then we had Jay McKenzie, who's playing the monster. Yeah. Well, I gotta do that. I can't pronounce names right. That's not something that I'm gonna hide.
Gotta say,
then we have Jay McKenzie
really nice
making a future appearance. Oh my God, we may have a new creature icon here. Not only in look but in performance.
Like I will say, you know, for those who were just curious about Mirror Mirror, you know, a lot of like the actors and actresses that we originally had, you know, they got booked for other things. So, you know, we had to readjust, which Drew was very on top of that by getting another stellar cast, which we all feel great about. But I have to say, I feel like the performance goes to Jay McKenzie. And these guys were there. He was in that creature suit first day for at least, 14 hours, I want to say? 12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
At the very least 14 hours. Because he got put in that suit at like 2 in the afternoon? Right? They started
at 1.
Around, they started at 1. And then he was in it until we were finished filming, which is around 12:30. So,
or maybe even later. I think it was like 1 o'clock, maybe.
Was it 1 o'clock officially that he was out of the suit? Regardless, he was in it for a long ass time. He was in that suit for a while. He was in the suit for a while. Luckily, he got a shorter day, like a break on the second day, but that was by design. Drew intentionally made the harder shoot on the first day to coast with the second day, which is smart. But
which I have to say for all the people out there listening and watching, like we're talking full like facial appliance, like
he had full prosthetics,
pull off your head,
and like full prosthetics head to toe. He couldn't really do anything. Like he had teeth, hands, feet, like everything was covered in extra layer of skin. And by the way, this is the script that the director Drew had. I got everyone to sign it except I think 1 or 2 people. If I end up working on set with them again, I will be getting their signatures because I really want them on here as well. I had to tape this closed So I'll have to get a shadow box or something in the future. And I do have one other thing, which is this right here. It's one page from the storyboard. I mainly took the storyboard because I wanted like an example piece of a storyboard for when I'm making my own. But
That's
this particular
cool.
Isn't it dope? A lot of people signed it too. But the reason that I got this page in particular is because this is the page from the storyboard on the storyboard where I assisted on in a scene. Now I won't say what that is, but I feel pretty special about it, guys. I feel real special about helping.
And people don't realize too, like there was a lot of great people involved in this project. Like one person I definitely have to shout out, Kimberly, which was the set designer, amazing. And I don't know if anybody follow her, but she has like over 200,000 followers on Instagram. So she's, you know, a big influencer, a big deal. Also, Christopher Cox, for all you horror enthusiasts out there, like if you do not know who Christopher Cox is, then you may not be into horror as much as you think, or into horror short films. I mean, this guy has amassed over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, millions. I think he has over 400 million views across the board. So, I mean, and he was even involved. He was literally helping Drew with shot choices, angles, stuff like that. And I know Noah actually worked beside Christopher as well.
I worked beside Christopher. He was going to give me the rundown on storyboarding. On my second day, I was kind of like going to everybody, asking them about the questions about like their specific field. By the way, I would love to add that Christopher, while being a super humble and nice guy, is also really fucking funny. Like he's really fun. He's a really funny dude. But I was working mainly with Drew. I was his personal assistant, or as we're gonna call it, assistant to the director. But yeah, Chris, really nice guy. Kimberly, not only is she really cool, but she took a knife to the face and still kept going. Like no, like we gotta mention the fact like she took a knife to the face and didn't even complain. I was like, hey, can I just get like a first aid kit and some Neosporin and a band-aid? It's like, what happened? Like, oh, I just stabbed myself in the face with a knife, and everyone's like, what? It's like, just one of those things. Yeah, it was. This was a lot of fun. Like it was a really weird thing to be on the set, because like it was so like everyone's there is just like kind of working and thinking and processing information the same way that at the same speed that I do, but everyone's also just super nice and super humble. And also, but when the filming starts, and I want to shout out the actors again, because even all like Jay in the suit, he looked great in the suit, and he did great in the suit, and being in the suit for as long as he was is a feat of its own, because like that's some Navy SEAL training that he was dealing with right there.
Been buried a lot.
He had so I don't know if anyone took a picture, but he had towels wrapped around his feet because they were getting cold, because there was no insulation, because he couldn't wear shoes, because he was covered head to toe. But so there's one specific scene that I can't mention, but Jamal and Amari both with how the emotion that they gave. Like I was sitting in there on that scene, and you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's the one scene, and I'm just sitting there, I was like, man, this is actually getting me. Like I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, and I love that, because like I don't typically feel that for horror movies, but like getting to be on set and seeing it now, and also seeing how they did, it was just love it. I'm so excited when this comes out.
You felt that watching it, being behind the scenes. Can you imagine what people when they see it on camera for the first time?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for when this comes out.
I mean, and I was kind of like watching like everyone else's like reaction. I think we're all talking about the same scene. And like I got goosebumps. Like, and I'm not just saying this because I'm attached to the film or anything like that. Like genuinely, as a consumer of media, like I literally got chill bumps from. I almost wanted to jump over there and like help, because I felt the emotion, and I teared up just a little bit, because I'm like, oh my god, like this is crazy.
The little inner superhero in your head's like, I can save. Let me help.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm not going to put both of you on the spot, but I know one of you have a video for that, because I was in charge of making sure our holding rooms were quiet for that scene, because how important it was. So I missed out on that scene. But it's okay. It's okay. I heard it from the other side of the door. No, you haven't yet.
I got you.
No, you haven't sent it. I'm really upset about it, is what he said.
I am. I heard it from the other side of the door. It sounded amazing. But again, not saying it because we're a part of the film or anything like that. This kind of reminds me of Lights Out and Ju-on before it became a big thing. Like they started with short films, and when people saw it, it just blew up. And I think there's a potential for this too. Having seen the behind the scenes and feeling those emotions while you're watching it, and seeing how the creature, again, my God, how well the creature is and how well it looks. This is something that can turn into a Halloween costume in future years. Seeing how well it looks,
I would love that.
as long as it gets edited perfect, which I have all the faith in the world in Drew to do that. If it gets edited perfectly, I think this is your taste of something bigger to come. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. And
for sure,
hopefully, Montavius, you'll be able to keep everybody that was involved in the short in the bigger version, because they killed it and they deserve to get to tell the full story.
Oh yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I have to say, shout out to Drew. So there's three people. Dan, the DP guy's amazing.
He's
very
so nice. He's
so nice. Yeah. It's like this guy was unbelievably nice. Drew, the writer director, my creative partner, whatever. This guy is legendary. I think this is what stamps him, and this is what's going to carry him to the next level, because Drew did amazing, and his lovely wife, who I didn't get to introduce myself to.
Can I talk about Eve?
Yeah,
Eve?
I just want to say her food. If Drew, if you're watching, if your wife is watching, food amazing, top tier, amazing food.
So I got to whenever Eve was bringing food like in the area, I was no longer working for Drew, I was working for Eve. So whenever she was in there, I was doing catering. So she's also incredibly nice. I initially thought that she worked in catering because someone had mentioned that. Turns out this woman does not work in catering. She works in finances. But she just happens to be an amazing cook. Like she made 4 different types of like pastries. She made brownies, sugar cookies, 2 different types of chocolate chip cookies, gluten-free chocolate chip cookies, which I did not. I know that this is not the most important part of the film, the behind the scenes stuff that you were looking for, the gripping content you were looking for. But damn it, there were meatball hoagies, and they were really good. Like they were really good. And the smothered chicken. Guys,
yes,
you gotta get yourselves on a set where Drew and Eve are working, because you will be well fed. You'll be
you're gonna eat good. You're gonna eat good.
We did eat good. Like even those green beans, man, like on the side.
Yes.
I want to go back. Guys.
Yeah. So
to the spooky Airbnb place.
Which I had a nightmare.
Oh boy.
I had a nightmare the first night. So sorry.
I want to go back there, bro.
I don't, because I mean, I would like to film again, but I don't want to go back there because I'll share this tidbit because it's not really crazy. So like as we get in, and we've posted pictures everywhere, so you guys can check out those pictures. But like the bedroom I slept in was behind a bookcase, like a secret hidden room.
What a troop
if
for
you will.
That bed, by the way.
Yeah, which I slept in there. I had a nightmare the first night because there's no like blinds to shelter. Like I don't know. I feel like if someone can't see me, I'm safe. But like if they can see me, I'm dead. Also, I snore, so they're gonna find me anyway. But anyway, I had a nightmare like that somebody broke in and like was trying to kill us, and I couldn't say anything. So I actually think that place was haunted.
Well, let's talk.
We would have all heard you because that house was horribly echoey, and also we were all like right down from you. But I was gonna go sleep on the one couch that was in like the hallway area by the gym area. And then as I'm like plugging my charger in, I look down and I'm like, oh look, like a little card from a board game, and it's a penalty card that said that I could hurt a different character or person that was playing adjacent to me. I was like, oh, does that mean if I sleep here that somebody else is gonna like be unalived by something in this house, like in this resi mansion house that has secret rooms?
Yeah, so you hear those crazy stories about shooting supernatural movies and supernatural things happening, but like the grounds on where we were at was really strange too. Like there was a almost like a circle of rocks that were just built into towers, these triangles. It's like, oh, is that like a seance section outside? And then the first night that we pull up, there's a bunch of deer that are out in front, but as the light hits them, all you see is just a series of glowing eyes in the darkness.
Not to mention the first day we left, we smelled sulfur, and a couple different people smelled sulfur on set. There was an uprooted tree that was rotted though, like it was rotted because it was gray. Also, remember two of the windows. So the first night, everyone's all paranoid that we're gonna get taken out, and then they all go to bed. And then us being our paranoid selves, Dave and I being our paranoid selves, and then Marcus, we all got up. Was like, yeah, we got to check. It's like we got to check. 10 doors and windows unlocked that night. 10 doors and windows, two windows were broken. Two of them were broken. Dave had to go outside and push the window shut, and then I had to latch it while he was pushing it shut. And then the one in the room where us and Marcus were sleeping in, we couldn't even lock it because it was the original frame was ripped out and a new frame was put in because it looked like someone had pried it open. So yeah, and that screaming noise, which was the alpacas. And the old guy in the pool in the middle of November.
That's creepy.
Yep. We have the stereotypical pool guy that shows up to clean the pool the weekend before December. And it's like,
not to mention all the weird shit we were finding in the library room, and also all the files we were finding in the basement in the utility area. Like it was. I found a pair of like really old, dilapidated crutches. Like it was just a weird. It was a weird place. Oh, and then not to mention that utility room also had 3 switches that controlled the three levels of the house. So it was the perfect setup for a horror movie to actually take place. And like it was, I would love to go back and film another horror movie there with a slasher. Like that would be fun to do because it would make so much sense with all the secret rooms. And it really does. Like that house was scarier than the actual movie we were filming. And that it's weird to say that, but like that house is like, you get so twisted and like walking throughout there. Like there's so many like weird like stairwells, and there's 2 balconies inside. Like it's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. And it makes me think about like the people who like own it, right? So the master bedroom is on the 2nd floor. Yeah. And like all the other bedrooms are like upstairs. So like these people hate their kids or whatever, because it's like, why are they so separated? It was creepy. And I had the best time in this creepy mansion, and I hope everybody did. But yeah, I would definitely love to do it again for sure.
Yep. Before we switch to our main topic for tonight, so all I have to say is having our channel explode on Easter eggs. I got to be in a movie where I hid an Easter egg in a scene that was captured on camera. Now, it's not an Easter egg to the channel, but it's an Easter egg to something that's happening in the movie.
Can I also say that the Easter egg that he put is in the same spot where I am technically in a scene later, which I think is really funny.
Yeah. So yeah, good times. I will tell you this. This being my 2nd time on set, but for the entire shoot, it's almost addicting. Like I came back, the 2 days later, I'm really tired, but I'm saying, man, if I got a call to jump on set tonight, I would, even if I'm tired.
Yeah. So
you get that boost of energy again.
It was a 2-day shoot. We were there for 4 days, or we were technically like working for 4 days. We had 3 nights that we slept. I think that we got like 10 to 15 hours within that total of those 3 nights of sleeping. And honestly, I got back and I was like, damn, I gotta go to regular work tomorrow. But it honestly going to the set was the greatest thing that it could have done for me mentally, because I went and then I came back and I'm going to work, and like now for some reason I'm able to separate it all. Like I go to work and I deal with my issues there, and then I come back because like this is not something that I need to worry about or focus on when I'm home, because I am focusing on other things right now. And I also gotta say, when being on set, driving to set, coming back from set, I think it has to do not only with how many other creative people are there just talking about their ideas with other people, but also just how the environment was in general. You and I have come up with quite a bit in the realm of ideas. I'm not mentioning any of them. Like these will not be discussed because these are some, like, I think these are some breaking ideas. But you and I came up with three new concepts, and then fleshed out the idea for another one that we had come up with a while ago. So, and the one that we were talking about, I'm so excited for. I told everyone that's like the only person who I've let read it and get in on like the other stuff that I mentioned to you is Riley. Nobody else is allowed to know. I'm making sure that nobody else knows. But I'm very excited for what the future comes. Like I don't know what we're doing in January, but I really hope we're on set in January for stuff.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
I was gonna say, in January we may have some news to announce in regards to another project that Nerdbox is working on outside of film, but it's a really cool one. So I just finished up some. I'll give the hint. So I just finished up a rule book for what we're working on for a film, and that's being reviewed today, and we're gonna share that with some people, and hopefully in January we'll be able to make an announcement for what that is. So pretty excited about that.
It's so
And
cool.
yeah, and then maybe by the end of this month we'll have our first screenplay finished, and we'll be talking to some people about getting that started. But let's move on now. Let's get into everything that we've came here for. So now it's time to talk about the five Yuletide horror films to get you in the mood for the holidays. Now, it could be something. We're coming out of Thanksgiving, so there's some great films that are out there that are revolving around Thanksgiving and Black Friday that may be involved in this. But this is to get you in the spirit of the coming up holidays. So, Montavius, since this is your second time with us, what is your number 5 on your list?
So number 5, I have to go again. I don't want to go. I don't want to be all cliche, but we're gonna go with the mean one. It's gonna be the first one or
very
the
good
5th one.
movie. Yeah, that is a very good movie. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. I went and ordered that in the blind. I was like, man, I hope this is good. I hope this is good. I had the director on the channel. We interviewed him. We interviewed Dave about it. Hopefully, it's really good, and it was very good.
The horror retelling of beloved child characters is a new wave of horror that I'm glad that people are here for, and I'm glad it's also working out.
Which so Steve, the director, also I don't know if people don't know that he's doing a Screamboat, which is coming out next month. But yeah, no, I love what he's doing right now, like recreating, I would say a new horror genre, if you will.
Yeah.
I think the mean one was great, and it's definitely on rotation here in my house as far as to get me in that holiday spirit. So I have to say, like, that's definitely number 5 for me, for sure.
Plush horror.
That's a good pick. Oh, the things they do with candy canes in that movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can imagine, because we've all like sucked on a candy cane until it got sharp, and it's like, this would be a great horror, like a great weapon,
Which is what I was hoping Terrifier 3 was gonna do. I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping like we got more of like the hot cocoa to the face stat, or sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Impel with a candy cane. But
could you imagine if Art came out and had like, he was just like sucking on them in like one scenes, like, what? Oh, we know what he's doing them for, but we don't know what he's going to do with them. And then he just comes, and then he just comes out and he's got like candy cane brass knuckles and he starts punching people with them.
Oh my God.
Like, I would have, like, that would have been great to see. We gotta have like an evil Santa Claus movie where he comes out and he's just like, "You've been naughty." It's like, "Oh, you're gonna give me cold?" It's like, "No, I'm gonna give you a lesson in reality." It's like, I think that'd be great. You've been a ho ho ho. Just like, we could have some great catchphrases for old Saint Nick.
Well, those catchphrases are in Santa's Sleigh with Goldberg, and it's a movie that I put off for many, many years. It didn't make my list, but oh my God, when I watched it, I was so mad at myself for not having watched Santa's Sleigh for 15 years that it's been out, because it's just an excellent fun time. But no, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is, so I think you can consider it a horror movie. You can also consider it a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. I'm going with Nightmare Before Christmas. So it has its spooky moments, I will say. I mean, like, the Oogie Boogie Man is filled with bugs, and like the whole like. This is a hard list for me to make because there's not a lot. Like, I've seen more than 5 holiday themed movies. I just don't like a lot of them. So this is
Mhm.
kind of hard. I do like Night Before Christmas. It's a good movie. Good score. I like the music all around. Like that's some good stuff. Like you can jam out to that any time of year. I honestly respect Nightmare Before Christmas and love Night Before Christmas the most for its marketing ploy, because you will never see another because you got Disney with all of their stuff, and like Disney you're expecting, but like Tim Burton and his marketing for Nightmare Before Christmas, like, oh, it's a Christmas movie, but it could also be a Halloween movie. But since Spencer's and Hot Topic and FYE exists, we're gonna sell it all year round, and people buy it all year round, and a lot of people make it like their aesthetic and stuff like that. So like I respect the hell out of the marketing team for Nightmare Before Christmas. So that's part of the reason why it's my number 5, which is a weird answer.
No, I think it's anything that Tim Burton kind of does is in the horror realm. So if you look at that, you look at Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie, all that stuff is all horror elements. So it's definitely a great pick to start off with. Now,
solid.
For my number 5, I'm going to break the rules just because I have mentioned that it has to be something that gets you in the mood for the holiday, right? And since I live up in the Northeast and Montavius, you live up in the North as well, anything with snow is really going to get me in the mood for the holiday. And one of the movies that gets me in the mood for the holidays is 30 Days of Night.
I forgot about that movie.
Yes.
God damn it. I love that movie.
Yes. So they're shutting down for the winter, and just in case you haven't seen it, and what better way for vampires to feast is during 30 Days of Night, where the town is completely shut down from the outside world, and they just go to town hunting people like cattle. I love that movie when it comes to the holiday season.
I'm gonna watch that tonight, man. I totally forgot about that.
It was such a great way to make you feel helpless, because even so, like the movie's been out, so I'm gonna spoil you. But like, even they were like, okay, in order to, the only way we're gonna win this is by becoming one of them, and like it was such a bittersweet ending, but such a great movie. I would have loved seeing a sequel to that. Like, just
there is a sequel. There is, it's just not as good.
Maybe even like a prequel to it, like the origins, or like more focus on the vampires themselves. I know it would be harder to give it the same horror feel that it had, because it was really like you're boxed in, and you're trying to work. It was like a stealth game, like you're working your way around and trying not to. You felt helpless. You really did feel like cattle. Like that was right on the nose.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like an underrated gem at this point. Like, I don't remember people really talking about it as being an amazing movie when it came out. So, 30 Days of Night, like Double Knee says out there, solid movie.
It is definitely a solid film.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't Orphan have a Christmas tree in it at one point?
I think so. It does have snow though.
But that's another one that could be considered because there's snow.
I'm not a huge fan of it. Like the whole aspect of like the using a child actor for like it bothers me a little bit. So, but
well,
it is an option.
The 80s did stuff like that all the time, but we will not get into that. That's a topic.
The 80s was doing stuff like that behind the scenes too, though.
Yes, but they weren't afraid to not do it on screen. So,
I've seen 80s films. Trust me, I've seen 80s movies. I know.
You haven't seen Poison Ivy?
Now that you've mentioned it, I probably never will. So, but I've seen 80s horror films.
Or Blue Lagoon, and that wasn't a horror film. So, all right. So let's go ahead. Number 4. So what do you got, Montavius, at number 4?
I have The Children at number 4, which was directed by Tom Shanklin in 2008. Are you guys familiar with that?
No.
I got halfway through it. I have to finish it yet.
Okay.
See, it's not because it was bad. It's just because I was tired and I didn't want to watch subtitles.
For sure. Like that film had me questioning my own children. So I think that because the snow element, but it happens around like New Year's, but it's still like, it still gives you that Christmas feel. I think The Children though, definitely.
I'll allow it.
There was some scenes that I saw in that movie were definitely a little bit disturbing with how they were playing out. So I can get you seeing why you were questioning your children with that one.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it. What's it on?
I believe. Where did I see it? You can check it out on Tubi. Maybe
Tubi's, everyone's always talking about Tubi, and I never just go on there to browse, and I probably should do that more.
So, sidebar for anybody who wants to watch just horror in general, bad stuff to good stuff, everything between. Tubi is your best friend. There's a lot of Christmas horror on Tubi. Just saying, tons of it.
I think it's in my top 10 this year for horror movies. Maybe my top 15. But Low Lives is a Tubi original. It is an amazing movie. Yes. So for those that don't know and don't use it, there's this little app that I've been using for over a decade. It's called Just Watch. So if you type in your movie in there, you're not gonna be able to see it on my camera that well. But it says the children is currently not playing anywhere. So sorry
really?
about that. Yeah, it is not. It's not free and it is not available for rent. So this may be one of those movies that hopefully there's a physical copy of it.
Guys, I'm sorry. It's definitely I love it. It's good if you can find it.
It's okay.
All right, no. What do you got?
That's a little taste. Number 4. So number 4, I got that movie with David Harbour, Violent Night. I thought that was Is that a horror? I think that's a horror movie. I mean, there's a lot of
I think so.
a lot of body parts going everywhere. So I don't know.
That was a fun movie. The Christmas tree star to the eye, amazing.
Also, I know it's not related, but can I just say that David Harbour's Hellboy is massively underrated. It wasn't the greatest, but I think that it could have had potential in a sequel, but whatever. But yeah, I really liked Violent Night. I thought it was a fun movie. It was very enjoyable to see Santa Claus and David Harbour as Santa Claus just kicking ass and using Christmas gifts and stuff like that. Oh, I gotta say, I really like the element where he was actually a Viking at one point.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That's so cool. It's oh yeah, I used to hurt people. It's oh, I didn't know you were about that life, Santa, but it's cool to know that you are, in fact, about that life. With the
now
hammers,
that movie has one of my, I would say probably one of my top 10 actresses that's come out recently and come up, Alexis Louder. Seeing her in Cop Shop and seeing how she led that film and how badass she was, she needs to be in more films where she's a badass. And I would love to see her in a horror film. And that's something Noah and I have talked about. And we talked about that with Marcus too, is she definitely needs to be a lead in a horror film because she would be an awesome final girl.
Well, how many times do we see so many amazing actors and actresses swept under the rug just because they're maining in horror and nothing else? Johnny Depp, Kevin Bacon, they're outliers, and Jamie Lee Curtis. But there's so many great actors from those films in the 80s that could have had a much better career, but because they started out in horror and they flashed a little titty, they weren't allowed to get the same justification that they were deserved. So I hope that that's not going to be the same pits that we're going to see Laura fall into and stuff like that, because that would be we have a lot of great independent film actors and actresses currently come up and coming that I would love to see continue their career outside of that, because if anything, horror should be at the top of your resume, because it forces you to show the extent of your emotional capabilities, and we saw this firsthand with Jamal and Armani. So I think that if I were a director looking for actors, I would be looking for people who did horror movies and did well in those horror movies, because that's what you want to see. You want to see someone who's willing to go and put their all out in a film. Now, granted, there are those shitty horror movies that just are out there to be out there, but from what I saw on the Mirror set, what I saw was what it deserves to be on more mainstream stuff, or at least more recognition.
Mhm.
So I hope that's my 2020 my January wish for 2025. One of my wishes or my
Uh,
resolution, I guess.
All right, so let's roll right along. So my number four and double knees. I don't know if I ever told him this story, but so my number four is the first remake of Black Christmas, where we have all the shenanigans going on, with the little underlying incest story. It's a movie
Uh,
where
The
Billy
chair
is.
rocking noises, I
Uh,
remember them, and I
and
don't like it.
it's not the grossest of the three films. I think the original is the one that really just kind of sends cringe down my spine. I have to
That
put
phone call,
space in
yeah.
between watching it. But you have Billy the Killer, who's actually yellow from jaundice. We actually get to see the killer in the movie, or the serial unaliver. Damn it! But that movie is something that I had bought at Best Buy, and I was checking out with it. And I said, "Man, it can't be Christmas Eve without watching Black Christmas." And the person that was checking me out looked at me and was like, "You are freaking disturbed for watching this for Christmas Eve." It's like, it's a great movie. It's so bad that it's good. And it's not a fantastic movie, but it's bad, and it makes it enjoyable because of how bad it is. It's not 2019 Black Christmas bad, because that was just god awful. Thank God I didn't see that in the theater movie. But yeah,
I actually haven't
that's my
seen that
number
at all.
four.
all right,
Oh,
solid.
look, Double Knees, never seen it. So, Double Knees, just to let you know, the person that said that to me, who I was surprised, was Drake, because I wouldn't expect that disturbing comment to come from him. Anyway, we're moving on to our number threes. So, Montavius, what do you got number three?
All right, so number three, I have XXXmas. This was written and directed
Is that a
by
porn?
James Dean. So no, so basically, it's a Santa comes back and wreaks havoc on this adult film set, and let's just say,
Oh, so
yeah, you can check
kinda.
it out. It's crazy, over the top. It has Felissa Rose in it. It's it's a good time. You got to watch it. It's very funny, very very gory.
I've never
I like
heard
how
of it.
I was
It
kind of
kind
right.
of.
Is kind of a porno.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like you don't see anything. It's just Santa
In an
comes back.
alternate reality, Santa ended up not killing people, and this is on a different website.
Yeah, everybody's like, what? But yeah, check it out.
That kind of
James
reminds me of the
Dean.
movie James Dean. All right. Kind of reminds me of the movie Zombie Stripper. So I have that in my collection, and I have.
Oh, I
If
know.
somebody sees that,
Yeah.
I have to quickly explain it. It's like, it's got Robert England in it. It's not what you think it's about. It's just
Yeah.
a fun movie. I'm gonna have to
Wait,
check that out. That sounds like it's
before
probably
you judge me, let me tell you what you should be judging me on.
Yeah.
fun. It's just the title. All right. So no, what do you got
It's a
number
good
three?
movie, I swear.
So my number three, I put Thanksgiving. We mentioned it with Patrick Dempsey and
Mm-hmm.
being the killer, but I thought it's a really interesting concept. Um, it's really weird to keep saying this on stream, and then also keep mentioning how much I love certain films on the channel, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a huge fan of gore. Like, and if it's in a film, it has to be done for a specific reason or told the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and while I do really love like the whole aspect of him using Thanksgiving things, like, oh, we're gonna cook the stepmom or whatever, and then use the
Mm-hmm.
corn skewers and all that stuff. Like, I really love that. I love that for storytelling, but it also really bothered me. But I like that. I like that it bothered me. I like that the corn skewers to the ears. Nah, I can't. Nah, that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
That is a foul thing to do to somebody. Like, and then have the person that same person's boyfriend unload a pistol into them. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And also Patrick Dempsey as the serial eater, really enjoyed him playing that in that role. I think he did a great job. The accent I could have done without, but
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I really like the film. I don't know if they're making you said they announced a sequel, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
I am very much looking forward to the sequel. I think that it has a little bit more room for storytelling. That's my only gripe with the film. I think that there could have
Mm-hmm.
been some more storytelling than just like the quick little tidbit of why he decided to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well,
I
I thought it was a good film. It was a good film.
I like how we may have a an annual tradition right now where it's going to be we have Terrifier 2 Thanksgiving, Terrifier 3 Thanksgiving 2, and then Terrifier 4. So our Novembers are pretty much set right now for the next few years when it comes to these two films.
I think it'd be rather interesting because we did see in this movie that he switches masks, which we have talked about a lot as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
That could open up the idea of branching out Patrick Dempsey into like outside of Thanksgiving and using other masks and doing other things with that character.
Hmm.
If you wanted to, because you could also just keep Patrick Dempsey in horror because he does a really good job. But
Hmm.
to keep him temporarily in there, you could extend the life of that character by putting him in different movie titles, but it's the same
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, to anybody that's watching out there, throw your comments in there. But I want to ask this to Montavius. So what's your thoughts about having a slasher swap out masks in the middle of a movie? Does that take away from it, or does that add a little bit more to it?
I think it always adds. I don't think it takes away from like the film itself. I think it keeps it fresh because now you don't know. Like it could be somebody totally different. You don't know.
Hmm.
So I'll go for it. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's where Scream 6 missed. Is that
Yeah,
train scene should have not have been a ghost face. If you wanted to do a ghost face mask, do the one from the TV show and have that come up. I thought that would have been a beautiful,
that would have been really
yes,
cool.
a nice
Mhm.
homage to the TV show. But I think on the train scene, they should have had somebody come up in another mask go after Mindy, and I think it would have
That
elevated
would have
that
been
scene a lot more.
that would have been cool.
Mhm.
Have we seen anything before, like with a slasher traveling to like in different movies, in different movie titles, or have they typically always consistently stayed within one main title? Because we got Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason and Friday the 13th. Have we seen a slasher character travel outside of his own universe or outside of his own title?
His dedicated time to unalive people.
Yeah, have we seen that? I don't think we've seen that happen yet. That would be
Mhm.
cool to see happen one day.
Mhm.
Like, I think we mentioned it. I think Marcus mentioned it on one podcast with Art that he could just go around and pop up in other like media, like so other movies and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and just
Yep.
randomly show up. I think that'd be funny. That'd be a cool little thing to do.
Art
But
across the horror multiverse. That's what it should be. Art across the horror multiverse. He just pops up.
I
Mhm.
mean, could you imagine Art and Deadpool teaming up? One doesn't shut up and one never talks, but is all body language. That would be the funniest and most brutal and sadistic thing I think we could ever see. Like, Marvel, jump on this. Let's do like if we're truly gonna go the route of multiverse, let's get an Art and Deadpool kills the unalives the Marvel universe.
All right, so let's move on. So my number three, I'm moving outside of the traditional holiday films, and I am going with The Shining. So we have the resort closing for the winter. We have a blizzard that buries them in, and chaos ensues. So it took me probably 3 tries to get through The Shining and finally like it. But it was something that I always wanted to come back to. It's like, man, what's the hype? Because the first 2 times I thought it was boring. The third time is where it finally hit. And I was like, oh, this is an excellent film. And my dog is actually definitely afraid of that film as well. So it's one of those movies where if I put it
I
on,
mean,
you'll see
the
her.
score alone.
Yeah, the score, and I think
Ah,
because of the way the movie was made with hidden images and stuff that's played around in there, their color concept, I think she can pick up the weird stuff that's in there. Because I don't know if anybody ever caught the Easter egg, but as they're driving up towards the hotel, you can actually see faces in the mountainside if you stop it at the right frame, and
I
it's
have
really
not
cool.
seen that.
Yeah.
I have to
So
say,
I
that's
will
my
say I love
I'm
that.
not the biggest fan of The Shining.
I am not
Mhm.
either. Doctor Sleep is much better.
Oh yeah, I love Doctor Sleep. Yeah, Danny
But
hates The Shining.
Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, like that is a performance right there. Like
Yes.
that is that's what I
Mhm.
wanted to see as Jack Nicholson in the Joker, not what we got. What he said, like the scene when he's talking to his wife as he's like walking up the stairs with her, And he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your fucking brains in. It's like that is what I would have loved to have seen Jack Nicholson do against Michael Keaton in the Joker. Now I get it. Like I don't think we had that Joker to that degree in the 80s, but to see that, great. I would have loved
that. We have Lukas. He's awake. The Shining slander. So I take it Lukas loves The Shining as well.
Listen, get off my yoinker. It's not that good of a film. Like.
All right, so we're moving on to number 2. So Montavius, what do you got number 2?
So this one's interchangeable, but I gotta go with 1997 Jack Frost. Interchangeable with Christmas, Bloody Christmas. So yeah, I would have to say we're leaning towards Jack Frost for this one. Very funny, very very bad acting. I mean, but it just does it for me. It checks all the boxes that I need. So.
Yes, there's nothing more. Well, I guess we can actually talk about this in the sense of Black Christmas. It's so bad that it's entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy watching that film. It's just seeing the graping scene in the shower with the carrots. Like, oh, what the hell? This is one of those movies where you don't want to have somebody walk in during that scene so they don't think weird things about you.
Yeah.
What?
Have you seen?
No.
I thought you saw it. No.
Nope.
Oh,
you haven't seen it?
No. Why? I'm definitely not gonna watch it now. Why is there? A carrot?
Yes.
Yeah.
He rises from the bathtub because he's water.
Oh, he was risen all right. He was risen all right from the straight from the stem.
you have to watch it at least once, Noah. You gotta give it a go.
Yeah, you gotta watch it once.
Or Christmas.
I don't know if I can afford to lose any more brain cells than I've already lost. Like they're flooding out of my ears at this point.
It's it's on the cusp of like this is what Chucky kind of turned into, like with the jokes and stuff like that. Only I find that a lot more entertaining. Jack Frost.
Mm.
Imagine if they brought Chucky back to horror, though. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. All right. So what do you got at number 2, Noah?
So my number 2 is Better Watch Out. I don't know how many people have seen this. I don't even know. Is this an independent horror film, or is this was this a main?
It's independent. It was a straight to Netflix horror film.
Really? Well, we did watch it on Netflix. I will say it was a very good movie. I really liked it. I really don't have any gripes about it overall. I mean, I always take issue with like people talking about children in a sexual manner. That always bothers. Involving children in a sexual manner always bothers me anyways. It's like when they were talking about the antagonist who is a kid and like a teenager in this, or a preteen or whatever, and his area. Like it's just weird. Like that bothers me. But other than that, like it was a really good film. I liked the little setup that they had at the end. There really isn't anything you can do, like nothing that I could think of that you could do that would amount to a decent sequel. But the idea that they could come back for a sequel, I would really like. Even if you did like a quick little like, oh, he went to the hospital and it just made it easier for them to arrest him, and then he gets out years later or whatever. But like I like the film overall. I like that the ending is kind of ambiguous. And yeah, this is a good film. I really enjoyed it.
It's really, if you really think about it, it's really the horror version of Home Alone. All right,
it is.
doesn't
Also, shout out to the child, like the kid who played the psychopathic like young boy, because he did amazing. Great.
Oh yeah,
like, he did great in his role. I really loved that the choice of actor for him, because that was some top notch shiznit.
Oh yeah, I actually believe that he may be a true sociopath and psychopath in real life because how well his performance was. Right?
Hey, as long as he uses it for movie making and nothing else, then I guess that's fine.
This is the second child actor that I've seen in a movie where I could say it's like, if he would turn out to be a serial unaliver in the future, I would not be surprised. The other person that I saw this was in the movie The Pit from back in the '80s, because that kid was on the next level when it came to being creepy and sadistic as well. Great choice.
Did you end up being
Very fun movie.
right about the one from the pit?
No, no, he's actually a very nice guy. I did some research on him after I watched the movie. It's like, hey, let me see let me see. Is he going out there stalking people? And no, it was just his performance.
He
was good.
donates to cancer charities. Turns out
All
he
right,
rescues dogs.
My number 2 has sort of been mentioned, and it is Christmas Bloody Christmas. I saw that in the theaters. I love that movie in the theaters. I think I went to see it 2 times before it left theaters. It's definitely something that's a part of my annual Christmas watching. And who doesn't love a robot Santa gone nuts through a town? It was just an amazing film.
Yes, agreed.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead first, because mine's just a weird little thing.
I just say. For anybody who's seen it, obviously, the Santa as he's unaliving, it doesn't look like an animatronic Santa. It actually looks like a real person. But I'm curious, Dave, what made you pick Christmas Bloody Christmas as your second out of everything that you mentioned before? I'm actually surprised that you mentioned that one.
So it comes down to my annual watching, right? If I want to watch a horror movie that's going to get me in the mood for the holiday, it's because I'm only watching them during a certain time of year. So this is a movie that I'm only watching during a certain time of year. So you'll be surprised that Terrifier 3 will not be on my list, because that's a movie that I can watch throughout the entire year. It's not going to be something that's going to say,
that is a very good point.
But yeah, the one thing that I really love about this movie, and I'm kind of starting to really become like an addict every time I see this movie in a movie. It's very similar to Terrifier 2 with the cinematography and the colors and the lighting that they use. Joe Bezos, which is very rare for me to remember a director's name, but I remember his name because he does that in all of his films, that color style, that cinematography delivery, and I just love seeing it because I think it just really translates to the audience very good. And the way he highlighted the LED Christmas lights in the movie, it just was all perfect. And the opening of the film is really what kind of hooked me. I knew I was in for something good, because it's a bunch of 80s TV show clips, but even though it's the modern day where they're going through these fake commercials and stuff like that, it's like, oh, this is going to be a fun ride, and I was right. And also, good final girl.
Yeah, I agree.
Can Santa Claus 2, like the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies, can that movie be considered a horror movie based off of the prosthetic they used for his robot counterpart? Because that was truly haunting. If we're being real here, if anything gave me nightmares from a holiday movie the most, it was probably that animatronic that they made, that face piece that they made for Tim Allen in Santa Claus 2, because that was Jesus.
Oh, the plastic tushy.
Yeah. It was, and also the whole I don't even know if I could say the whole 1940s antagonist route that they went with. They truly went for full metal, full swing. They went full in on it with the suits and everything. That was a weird movie. That was a really weird movie. If we were to consider that a horror movie, that would probably be my number one, because it is really, showing that to a kid for the first time is probably not going to be a pleasant experience for them, because it's just so weird.
If you take that movie Santa Claus 2 and drop it back to maybe the 50s or 60s, where we weren't aware of all this media that we are today and have seen all these things, I bet you that would have scared a lot of kids back then.
You would have melted brains. You probably would have melted brains.
Yep.
It's like, oh my God, what is happening? Well, also in the 50s, also releasing that movie in the 50s probably would have been very traumatic for some kids.
So I think so.
It's like, oh, these antagonists are dressed up like the German army. I wonder, that might give some kids a little.
I didn't even think about that.
I was gonna say, I was waiting for you to catch on. It's like 1950s. You're dropping a movie that references some pretty dark stuff that happened in the 40s. It might actually just scar some children. They might actually just walk out of there a whole new man.
Yep. Alrighty, so let's move on to our number ones here. So, Montavius, what you got number one?
Number one, I have to go with Michael Dougherty's Krampus. That movie is my go-to movie when I want to get in that Christmas horror spirit. It's number one. Number one will be. Again, I hope everybody's seen it. It's probably the most amazing film I feel like of Michael Dougherty's career. Now he did do Godzilla, King of Monsters, and all that great stuff, but Krampus. I mean, you can't beat that. You know, you got this kid who is tired of his cousins, and he accidentally summons a demon that literally takes his whole family. Like, amazing.
Yep. I have a love-hate relationship with that movie.
I may have to watch it again.
I enjoy it when I watch it, but then I also hate it because I thought they could have went to the next level. I wanted to see more violence.
That was
with
also
that movie.
my opinion. Like they went for the comedic route because they did have a lot of comedic actors instead of leaning more towards it. Because like those dolls and those giant gingerbread demons, like I like that could have had so much more potential to it. And also while we did get to see the full Krampus like in his full glory, getting to see him actually take some people out would have been cool. I would have liked to have seen that. Or at least some aspect of him doing it. Like you get to see his hand creep up, you see like his eyes like glowing in the background. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity with the practical effects not being involved as much, because I feel like a lot of what that was practical. So I like that's
that's amazing.
Yeah, like that's exactly like imagine getting to see more of those. Like I would have loved that.
Yep. Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
Also,
I love that.
It did also wait, where did you get those?
Etsy. I got them off of Etsy.
Really?
That's so cool.
I freaking love Krampus.
We're gonna have to take a look at that. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it also it kind of appeared that the entire town that they were in was being affected by Krampus. So imagine if that movie was like 2.5 hours, and we got to see him and all of his disciples ravaging through this town, going towards the people the child that summoned him, because he truly is just an entity of hatred and darkness. Like, I think that we should get a new Krampus movie, and I think that we should implement some of the stuff from the original film, but I think it needs to be darker and have more of the monsters and stuff, because that was something that I felt like it sorely lacked. Was not like a lot of off-camera character like getting taken out, whatever. I also like the idea that they're being watched by Krampus at the end, but I really feel like they dropped you're right. They dropped the ball with not having like the things in it as much.
Which I'm very surprised.
But if you go back and watch it again,
right?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Go. No, I think Dave was going.
I was gonna say, if you go back and watch it again, though, you may have that same love-hate relationship where you watch it, you like it, but then you think it's like, I like it, but there's more. I want that from it. Yeah. Go ahead, Montavius.
It has juice to squeeze from within.
Like the thing with Michael Dougherty is like, because he was behind Trick or Treat as well, which gave, I feel like, Krampus and then Trick or Treat gave two different feels, right? I think he did play it a little safe with Krampus and then went all out for Trick or Treat, which I'm a fan. I feel like he could have added some of the twists and kills that we had from, or unalives that we got from Trick or Treat, and added them to Krampus. But again, I'm a fan. I love it.
Do you think that maybe, while it was his still directorial work, is he the author for the anthology comic series of Trick or Treat?
That I'm not too sure of.
Because it could just be, since he was working with Krampus instead of working with an actual like set material, he was just working with the folklore itself. So he didn't want to go too far outside of that realm of the source material that he had, which I understand. I can understand why he'd want to like try and play it a little safe for something that you don't have a lot of knowledge on and has a lot of like weight and meaning in in country in Germany specifically. So like I get it. Um I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, like it could just be he wanted to play it a little bit more lighthearted because it is a Christmas movie. But I would have loved to have seen like the one thing I will say I liked about Trick or Treat because I wasn't a huge fan of it. I like the brutality of it. So it's getting
Yeah.
to see the brutality of Trick or Treat in Krampus would have been great because knowing what Krampus is, because like I'm German, like so knowing what like of Krampus and like the fact that what he is used for, like to scare kids and like what he'll do, like what a scary motherfucker. Like he's a demon. He is the opposite of what good represents. So he should be shown that way. So not being able to see him as much on screen, kind of sad.
Yeah,
but I like. But it is a fun film.
Yes.
The red one kind of rips off Krampus a little bit with something that they do in the movie. There is a Krampus in it, nothing like the one that we've seen in the movie by Michael, but it's like a beer guzzling type of Krampus. He was fun in his own right. I enjoyed every time that he was on screen, but yeah, great pick. Like I said, love hate relationship. There's some amazing stuff that's out there for it, like the 6 foot or 7 foot tall Krampus animatronic that just
Gross
is
Spear
really
Halloween.
amazing.
It's so
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. And then they're coming out with action figures that all look amazing. But now I have to go to Etsy and look for those gingerbreads. All right. So, no, what do you got at number one?
My number one's probably gonna be really easy to guess. Yeah, I put Terrifier 3 because yes, you are right. It can be watched at any time during the year, and I probably will watch it within any time during the year. But I will also be if it comes out on Christmas Eve near us, I will be going to see it on Christmas Eve near us. And also not being a huge fan of Christmas, I really enjoyed this film. I thought that it was really fun. Yeah, I don't know. I love seeing Art go around in the Santa Claus outfit, and also get all giddy when he sees Santa Claus. Like I just love that
Oh,
so
that is
much.
the best scene.
And the mall scene, I just because it feels like a Christmas movie because he is like for the better half of the movie dressed as Santa, like. So you could easily consider this a Christmas movie just based off the fact that he is dressed up as Santa. But I don't know. I think that it was a great movie. We've talked about it a lot. We have gushed over this movie a lot. So putting it as my number one was a pretty safe choice or a safe bet because it's just a great film. It's just so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, I can't argue anyone that would have that on their list at number one, top 5, top 10. It is, it's nice to have a franchise where we're not focused on just one holiday, but we've moved out that Halloween landscape and gone into Christmas. So who knows where we go next?
What holiday should he take over next? I mean, like, do we need to get him in a bunny suit for Easter? Like, I was gonna say, do we need to get him in a bunny suit?
Oh my god!
He could bring back the sunglasses from Terrifier 2, but he could also get new ones that look like daisies or whatever, or they could have little eggs on them. Like, Damien, we're feeding you gold here. We need Terrifier takes over Easter.
Can you imagine Art the Clown in a Easter bunny like costume, like rolling instead of like giving eggs as like hand grenades? Like that'd be awesome.
Oh my god, and they're painted. Oh,
yes.
that'd be great. Oh. He's just like he's hopping around. And he just goes.
Yeah, like come on, like
and
that.
They're blowing up behind him as he's throwing them at people. Like that would be so hilarious. Oh my god!
Why do I have a feeling we'll see this in a comic book form or like in a little short animated short somewhere?
That would be hilarious. I would love to see like he's just like skipping and like going, and he just sees like a fake Jesus who's doing something for the holiday, and he just sees him and he goes, and just skips off. doesn't doesn't do anything. It's like just like I would come on guys. We need an Easter bunny Terrifier costume. Let's make let's make this happen.
He goes to church and like during like the Easter Sunday and like watches a play and float. Oh man, dude, that's hilarious.
Oh my god! He dresses up as a priest for mass. Oh my god! It's like everyone's down there like bowing and they're just waiting for him to talk, and they just see him standing there covered in blood, smiling, dressed up as the priest. That would be so cool.
If you're
Seeing
listening, Damien.
what Damien did with the Yep. Seeing what Damien did with the crucifixion in this film, I can only imagine what we would see in an Easter film. I mean, we're gonna have churchgoers really pissed off at that point.
You would probably have the Catholic Church coming at them directly at that point, because there are already churches around the country putting stuff up about Terrifier. So if you actually made a horror movie with Art the Clown, basically shitting on Easter and one of their biggest religions, that would probably ruffle a bit more feathers.
Yeah.
I do think that would be a lot. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see that, though. I think that like Christians and Catholics would watch this film and be like, this is hilarious. Because it like, and it honestly, it doesn't even take away from the character either, because it's still like seeing Art as a presence on the screen. Because like he's really fun in Terrifier 3. He's really funny to see in Terrifier 3. But then we got those scenes when he was attacking people, and he's still just like an animal. He's a beast, and it's terrifying to see him perform. So even seeing him hop around, skip around in a bunny costume, throwing hand grenades just like as a joke to people in a Walmart or whatever, that would be hilarious. But then knowing what he's still capable of as a character would still want me to see the terrifying things that he is capable of. So I would say that this character has so many cool things about it that you could do with it and get away with because of what he represents. Because the smile could be one of two things: awesome and hilarious, or I am in danger. I'm in danger.
All right, so my number one was mentioned already on the list, so I'm going to swap that out for a movie that is something that I have to watch every holiday season. I don't think there's snow in it, but I think there is like a menorah in the background. So it's American Werewolf in London. The reason why it makes my holiday list is because I think there's a menorah in there during the scene where we have the Nazi werewolves showing up at David's family's house and just wiping everybody out. But when I came across this movie on DVD, because it wasn't out on DVD for such a long time, it was right in December. And I picked it up, and it was a very expensive DVD at the time because it was over $20 or close to $30. And that was pre-owned.
Wait, when did you buy it?
But I watched when I worked at Blockbuster. It was a pre-owned DVD that was going for over $20.
And it was $20 then?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. And I watched it while wrapping Christmas presents. So now it's like become a tradition. It's like if I'm gonna wrap Christmas presents, I gotta throw American Werewolf in London on. It's one of the first 2 horror movies that I've seen ever. It's between that and The Thing when I was a little kid. So that was my introduction to horror, was one of those 2 films. I just don't know which order it came in because I was a youngin'. But great movie. It's probably not going to be on anybody's list when it comes to holiday movies, but that's one that gets me in the spirit.
I was gonna say I notice that you watch it more during the holiday season than any other time. So even if it's not a Christmas movie, I think for your situation it makes sense.
Yeah, and this is a movie that I'm. For those that have seen it, Montavius, you may know the scene that I'm talking about, but I'm comfortable enough to watch this movie with Noah at this time. But back in the 80s, a lot of the stuff that was in this scene was kind of shown on TV. Like, so you'll know what I'm talking about once you see it.
Yeah.
Is this violence or
all right? So adult content. And there's a joke about it too, which I'll tell you the joke about that.
I've seen 1 or 2 boobies in my time.
Yeah, but imagine this being on 80s TV. Anyway, so any honorable mentions, Montavius? What do you got for honorable mentions?
I have one honorable mention. I did have a list, but I'll keep it short and sweet. I don't know if people would consider this horror. It's more like a adventure thriller, but Frozen by Adam Green would be a definite strong honor. For those who haven't seen it, check it out. It's streaming right now on Tubi. I just watched it today.
Can you give me a rundown of that story? Because I may have seen it.
Yeah, so it's basically you got three characters. They get they go skiing, and they get stuck on a ski lift, and they're having to make decisions like to try to get down, and there's wolves involved and people falling, and it's crazy.
Okay, so I have not seen it. I thought it was something else where I don't even remember like what the I don't remember the name of the movie or like the like why it was happening, but for some reason the town was freezing over and they were trying to escape the town before like they, froze to popsicles.
Mhm.
So yeah, I thought it was that movie, but it is not. It's something completely different. I don't remember the name of it. The movie I saw was not that good. So
Mhm.
Well,
it,
check out Frozen. It's definitely good.
I've seen memes about it because like people are like, oh, I finally get to check out that movie Frozen. Everyone's been talking about the Disney movie and then showing that one. So it's like I've never checked it out, but I've heard of it. So, and you said it's on Tubi.
Yeah, it's on Tubi right now.
Dope.
All right. So Montavius, I got a follow-up movie for you to watch, which you compare with that movie all the time. It's called Break. It's another ski lift movie that happens around New Year's Eve. It's a foreign film, but it's a lot different from Frozen, and it's another one where you're watching. It's like, oh, this is terrifying because this could actually happen, and what happens and plays out throughout the entire movie because it's one of those enclosed ski lifts. So they're going up a group of friends to celebrate New Year's Eve, and then they get stuck in there, and then panic ensues and everything else. That's a good one to follow it up with.
I
Nice.
hate that. I don't like. I don't like.
Well,
The,
yeah, especially if you
it's
were a
like
little nervous with heights. There's some scenes in there that are like,
yeah,
ooh.
absolutely not. I wouldn't even go on one of those
Mhm.
things. I would just walk up the mountain.
You couldn't with this one because it goes between two mountains. The ski lift,
You're
so it's pretty
honestly
high.
though, I wouldn't even go. I would not go skiing. Like, no, that's cold. I'm cold right now, and I'm wearing layers. I would never go. Maybe snowboarding because it's like snow skateboarding, but I've been to a ski resort and it's cold over there. I don't want to do that. Like that's
Mhm.
awful. So you guys
All
can have
right.
fun with that though.
No. So what about you? Any honorable mentions?
Honestly, I would probably just say The Thing because it has snow. Um,
Hmm.
and I really like that movie. It's a great film. I so I would say The Thing just because I really like that film, but I genuinely don't have enough Christmas or holiday horror movies that I have seen that I liked enough to want to talk
Hmm.
about. Unless Nerve is Nerve a New Year's horror movie, a
I don't
thriller
know.
adventure.
It's been a while since I've seen Nerve. I don't know if it takes place around New Year's. Maybe,
I think it's because I
but it's a good
watched it
movie.
around then. That might be why, and it's also bright
Probably.
colors. But yeah, I would say The Thing. The Thing is a great movie.
Bright
If you
colors.
haven't seen honestly, we've talked about it so much at this point. If you're watching us right now and you haven't seen The Thing, it's on Netflix. Watch the damn movie. Like it's a great fucking movie. Watch the movie.
Hmm.
Honestly, I would say that the prequel that they made in 2011 isn't that bad either. It just needed more practical. They should have done practical effects.
Hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, The Thing is something that, like the Poltergeist, it's one of those few films that when they transition it to uh better media, so like when it went from DVD to Blu-ray, it's like, wow, that
Yeah.
looks amazing. And now that it's on 4K, it's like, wow, it's like the movie just holds up. Like if you're a cinephile, these two movies just look immaculate as they get transferred to newer quality.
If you know the difference between crystal UHD and OLED and QLED for TV styles, then this might be the thing for you.
Hmm. Look, there are people that know that. Just like there's audiophiles that can tell the difference between vinyl
Mhm.
and DVD or CDs and digital music. They can hear those slight differences when it comes
Oh
to
no, I
those
know.
things.
I am one of those people that can tell the differences between those TVs. I currently have a UHD, but ultra high definition is still a very good type of TV for like streaming
Hmm.
bright colors and whatnot. I personally would like an OLED. QLEDs are nice, but they're not worth the price. OLEDs all the way
Hmm.
for me. When I eventually.
All
But
right. So my honorable mention. Originally, I'll reveal what my number one. My number one would have been the mean one, but that's not going to be my honorable mention. My honorable mention is A Christmas Horror Story, where it is a horror anthology, very much on the level of Trick or Treat, where you have William Shatner, who is your radio
The
DJ,
Shat.
just trying to make it through the holiday, drinking as he goes along, and his comedic timing is just perfect in that movie. But each of the individual stories within that movie is great, and the anthology twist at the end is just superb because it's something that could be done in a non-Christmas movie, and nobody's ever jumped on the chance to do it. But it is a fun movie, the way it plays out. And there's a Krampus in that one too. Pretty, yeah, a practical effect Krampus. He's pretty good looking. Not as good looking as the one that is in Montavious' choice.
Isn't that one? It's like the Santa versus Krampus. Don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about. I didn't. I never finished it, but I do know the ending, which is really good.
Yes.
A really good twist, I will say.
Yep.
I was going to mention that one. That was actually really good.
Yep. So here we are. We have given you 15 different choices of movies that get us into the holiday spirit. If you're watching this on replay, let us know what your choices are. And thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next week. I don't know what our topic is going to be. We were originally supposed to do our ranking of Silent Night, Deadly Night. But since everybody's been working on film and traveling, we've had to push that back. And hopefully we can come back to that in 2 weeks. So, anything
next Sunday is not Silent Night, Deadly Night either?
No, I don't think anybody is prepared because of how busy they've been. So we figure we'll put a week buffer in there.
Yeah.
I know I'm on part 3, so and there's 6 of them.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna watch part 2, just remember it's basically the same as part 1.
Oh. Well, so funny thing about that, I was telling Noah, I watched part 2 previously in the past on Shudder, and I shut it off about 40 minutes in. And having to go back and watch the whole entire thing for a ranking in upcoming films is like, man, it's stayed where I left off like 2 years ago. And if I would have just stayed another minute or 2 minutes, I would have saw all the new content that came afterwards. And it wasn't much; it was maybe 30 minutes of new content. But it's another one of those movies where it's so bad that it's enjoyable.
So wait, is the first 40 minutes just the first 40 minutes of the movie, or just just from the first, and then it cuts all the footage for the second one?
Yeah, because it's the retelling of the first movie through the younger brother's eyes. So
which isn't even new footage.
It's not new footage. It's just a bunch of cheesy 80s kind of delivery lines and corny delivery, and then we get into the second half of the film, and that's where we get all these.
Can I just give my ranking for this franchise now? It's all gonna be bad. It's all bad.
Well, there is a cool umbrella scene in it. So there is a good unaliving moment in this movie, and the remake is not that bad either. So I don't know about the other ones. So I never saw those, so it'll be a first time watch for me. All right, so that's it. Thank you everybody that has joined us for our Yuletide horror movies that get us in the mood for the holiday. I hope you enjoyed this list. We'll be back next week. We'll be back in our regular rotation with our regular times, and we'll see who shows up for that one. So we'll talk to you all soon.
What are we doing?
I have no idea. We'll figure it out during the week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys. For a holiday season, check out all the good and bad Christmas horror movies on Tubi.
Yes,
get your Christmas onesies, get your Christmas little footies, like your fuzzy little socks. Get some junk food. Hang out with some friends. Watch some shitty Christmas movies or some good Christmas movies on Tubi that are horror related.
Tubi.
It'll be a great time.
Yeah, you never know what you might like in some of those movies.
That's true.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Peace.